Hey guys, welcome to our SoulFam Podcast, where I interview space holders from all over the world. I'm your host. My name is Karolina, and I am the Connection Catalyst. Today on the show, we have Sophie Fox from Angelic Energies. Welcome to the show, Sophie. How are you doing?
Welcome. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak with you, my dear. Very excited. Yeah.
I'm really excited too, and I'm loving your wings in the background. You
Thank
can
you.
feel so angelic already, which is
Yeah.
great. I really, really love it. So, as a start, before we get into angels and messages and guidance and so on, I would love you to share a little bit of your spiritual journey. How did it start for you that you had maybe you had your awakening, or maybe you had some experiences that brought you closer to angels? How did your path start to connect to your guides and to bring you where you're at right now?
It's a good question. I think it's a lifelong journey. I've always uh, have had the ability to feel energy around me in quite a heightened way. And for me, there's always been this innate curiosity that there is more to life than we can just see, because I could feel it. I could feel the energy around people and around places. And I would describe myself as a spiritual seeker. I've always had that innate curiosity of what makes people tick, and finding out about life at a more deeper level. So, yeah, my journey starts, well, I think anyone, if truthfully, that is into spirituality, probably comes from a background of having, should we say, dysfunctional relationships in their life. And if I'm truthful, myself included, and all my family are what I class as slightly on the spectrum. Um, and yeah, so I've grown up with dysfunctional family dynamics, shall we say. And so I was drawn to the angels really because of the feeling of just pure unconditional love that they give, and the feeling of just being supported and always surrounded by that, and knowing that that was always there for me. So yeah, it's played a big part in my life.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. So, did you have a specific experience when you felt like you connect to your angels for the first time?
For
Like
me,
that you can think of, obviously.
yeah, for me, it's quite subtle. It's, for some people, because in my field, I get to talk to thousands of people, and some of them are very lucky and have the full blown experience of like an 8-foot angel sitting at the end of their bed, and it's like wow. For me, it's always been much more subtle. When I'm doing my healings, I get visions of orbs of color, and that's how I know which angel is working with me. I've had experiences when I've been out walking and I've had flash across my vision thousands of beautiful golden flecks of light. But really, it comes down to an inner feeling of, it's really hard to put it into words, but an inner knowing, an inner feeling of innate peace.
Mm-hmm.
And this guidance will just come through, and it can sound like your own voice, but it'll just come through with this feeling that will just set everything right. Yeah,
Mm,
it's just beautiful.
it's
So
beautiful.
if you can hear my dog in the background, but yeah,
No, we cannot, fortunately. You have a good microphone. Yeah,
okay.
I can really resonate with what you're saying, this feeling of peace, this feeling of knowing.
Mm.
Actually, I think I already mentioned it in one of my episodes, but maybe some people haven't heard it. I had a quite interesting experience meeting my guardian angel
Oh
because
wow.
I was doing this meditation. It was a meditation I think in the Thank You Money course that I did by Sarah McCrum. And I was doing the meditation where for half an hour, you were just intending to connect to your inner guidance and to your guides in general, whether it's your higher self, whether it's your angels, whatever. And it was just a relaxation meditation with the intention to connect, right? And I didn't really feel much in the meditation, but I just trusted, okay, I'm connecting now because it's my intention, and where my intention goes, the focus goes, the direction goes, right? So
for me,
it was just like, okay, even though I don't feel anything, I am just trusting that it happens right now. And then the same night, in the middle of the night, I was kind of like in between sleeping and waking state. Like I wasn't really fully awake, but I also wasn't really fully sleeping. I guess it was more like astral projection, really, now that I think about it, where I ended up in like first of all, I was like traveling through dimensions with one of the people that I know from this earth, but like with his soul, but I wasn't really feeling connected to him because a long time ago, I just didn't resonate with this person. And I had like this, I don't know, this feeling like I don't want to be there with him. Like we're traveling to all these dimensions, but I don't want to be there. And I felt like uncomfortable things. Like if someone tickled me, but in a very uncomfortable way, and then like some dark energies came. And then my consciousness by itself, like I didn't really like think about it or anything. My consciousness started saying this prayer, like, I don't know how to say in English, but something about guardian angel, please come to me, protect me from, some evil or whatever. It's a Polish player from Catholic Church, so that's pretty interesting because I'm not really like following any religion right now or anything like that. Because I think
I'm not
it's
religious.
I'm not religious either. But this prayer just came to me, and then literally all this darkness and all this uncomfortability just went away in this moment. And then I ended up in a room where my guardian angel was sitting behind the desk, like very chill, just like with his or it's, I don't know, I don't think it has any gender, with its like legs on the desk and just like super chill. And I'm just there in the room and I'm like, wow, are you my guardian angel? And we spoke English actually. And he, or it, I don't know if it was him, but I actually associated with him, kept changing like face. So once he was like older, once he was younger. And I was like, oh, you're quite handsome when you're young. And I was just like super funny with it. And then he was talking to me in this weird accent. And some time ago, me and my friends, like maybe 7 years ago, where the word spirituality wasn't as common, like, when it was associated with the church, one of my best friends was laughing that we shouldn't call it spirituality because if people hear it, they will think like that we are weird. So instead of spirituality, we started saying Canada. And then everyone who was into spirituality was said Canadian. I don't know. He just came up with it randomly. I don't know why. And then I'm speaking to my guardian angel, and then I'm like, what's your accent? Like, what is this? And he's like, it's Canadian. And I'm like, it's so funny. It's a Canadian accent. And so then I had the conversation with him. He was in this like white robe. He had like kind of like a Viking golden hat and like curly hair. So since then I just call him Carly because I don't know his name or anything. Like I just call my angel Carly. And it was the only time I met this energy like face to face, and I saw in my vision like it kept changing the face, and I don't know the exact face because it was like multiple faces, but I know that this energy exists and I could actually really connect. And it was so unexpected that I would connect in this way because during meditation I didn't feel anything in like a conscious state, but then when I went to sleep I just astral traveled.
Dreams are a really good way of connecting with your angel. Amazing. I think that's probably the most common way, actually, because when you're in dream state, you're free of all the limitations that are in this, 3D reality. So
and
it was much easier to connect.
It was so cool as well because at some point I just felt like I asked him a question and he kind of like showed me like with his hand, like kind of like bye, like just go away. And then I felt as if someone literally took my feet like with their hands and just brought me down, like threw my feet down. And then I woke up at around like 3 a.m. in the night and I'm like, what the hell just happened? Did I just astral travel to meet my guardian angel? Like it's so weird. I was so shocked. But it's great experience because you don't always when you meditate, you don't always have to feel the changes or the energies straight away. It can come later, right? It can come as like a effect of what your intention is. You don't necessarily have to feel it straight away. So for me, it was a great experience, but it was the only time that I actually like really felt and encountered my angel. The other times I was just asking him for help or whatever, but I didn't like so vividly feel his presence, but I just trust that it's there, right? Because like we just gotta trust
that intention. That's brilliant. Yes, love it.
Exactly. That's the most important, to set an intention. And so I have a question to you. So some people might be like, okay, but how do I know if I'm not just making things up, first of all, if it's like actually the angels that I'm speaking to, or that I'm like, you know, feeling or whatever? How do I know if it's not my ego making it all up, you know?
Well, in the terms of that dream state that you had, because you felt it so strongly and you remembered it so clearly, it was so vivid, and usually and there was a story to it as well. There was a coherence to it, you know, there was a beginning, a middle, and an end. So it wasn't like a normal dream state that is quite incoherent and surreal, and you know, that is how you know you had a real experience.
For me, I know, but for people generally, you know, generally speaking.
Well, yeah, as I said, because it's learning to distinguish between the voice of your ego and the voice of the angels, your higher self. And it's just really knowing the difference. Your ego is always coming from a place of you're not good enough, or you should be doing this, or you know, there's that element to the message. Whereas if it's coming from your angels, your higher self, it's always so gentle and reassuring, and usually quite quiet, actually. And even if it is guidance helping you in, you know, really dire situations, it is always going to be gentle and reassuring. So yeah, that's the main way to really tell the difference. Yeah.
So what did you do in your own life to actually get attuned to it more and more? Did you do some kind of meditation? Did you just spend time connecting and like distinguishing it? Like, what has helped you on your journey to be able to connect clearer?
I think at the start, massively helped getting into angelic Reiki. I started off with the traditional Usui Japanese Reiki, the healing modality, and that was lovely. But I went on to get my master's in angelic Reiki, and that for me just opened up the floodgates, because you're getting attuned to the angels then, and really making that deeper connection with them. And then I've followed for many years people in the field. In the UK, we have Kyle Gray, who's gorgeous. He's written many books. I have trained with him for a few years and become a certified angel guide through him. There's also in America Radley Valentine, who's also just fabulous. Love following him as well. We've also got Diana Cooper as well in the UK. And yeah, and just immersing yourself, you know, in this world, and being open to it. Yeah.
And so what, first of all, the question that came up for me is like, how is this angelic Reiki different from like a regular Reiki?
Okay, so with the regular Reiki, you're focusing very much on an area, well, bringing the energy through into an area they call the Dandian, the Dandian, which is just below your belly button, above your navel, and you're gathering all the energy there, and then you're sending it out through your hands. And you're focusing as well on symbols. There's the Shoku-rei, for example, and using that to send the intention for healing. Angelic Reiki is, for me, it's much more natural, and you are just the vessel, and you're allowing that energy just to flow through you, through your hands, and it will go wherever it needs to go. And so it's a much more, as I say, natural, intuitive process. Yeah.
So there is no symbols or anything like that in
You
angelic
don't
Reiki.
No, you don't need to worry about symbols.
Mm-hmm.
No. It's it's just
So
a beautiful experience. And really, truthfully, it's probably all the same thing. You know, you're working with that universal energy and being that channel, but it's just a different way of doing it slightly.
So you pretty much just need to set an intention to connect to the angelic energies. You don't need anything else.
Yeah.
Just that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And I'm sure everybody has that ability of bringing that healing through. We have, you know, the chakras in your hands, and it's just activating that. You can do a little exercise with me now. If you put your hands together and give them a rub, okay, and start to feel them getting warm. Okay, and then we're going to create a little space and just see if you can feel the energy in between your hands. And you might feel like a bit of resistance, like they're pushing away from each other, like almost like there's a ball in between your hand. Can you feel that?
Yes.
The energy there. And that's what you're working with. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Oh. Yeah, I also did 2 levels of Reiki, so I'm familiar with it. But actually, before even I did Reiki, I actually got access to Reiki through fasting. Before I even known what Reiki is, I was just fasting and dry fast. I think it was after the 4th day of dry fast that I just got access through my crown chakra to the energy, and it was just flowing into my body through my hands and so on. So for me, it was through fasting that I opened up the most, because I did a 3 weeks fast at the time. But then it actually became like clear after the 3 or 4 days of dry fast. And then I took a sip of water after that. And then I was just like, okay, I don't have to eat then because I have this whole energy coming into my body. So it's all good now. But yeah, it's pretty crazy how it happened. But it was probably one of the most spiritual, like, awakening processes that I've done, apart from like working with plant medicine, because that's also very opening. But yeah, it was really, really cool. And so I would love you to share, if you have something like that your favorite like kind of meditation or your favorite kind of practice that you have learned from all these people that you followed and all these courses that you've done to connect to the angels, right? Do you have a favorite type of practice, favorite type of meditation that would help someone who just starts to get familiar with these energies, that they can just, listen to this podcast and they can take it home and just start practicing and start attuning themselves to the higher guidance?
I do actually. I have one in my book. Well, there are about there's about 10 recorded meditations. But what I will do for your followers is there's usually you only have access to these meditations if you buy the book. But what I will do is I will give you the link and the password so that they can access all of the meditations on there. How about that?
Wow, thank you. That's really generous of you. Thank you so much. And so the book is called Guided by Angels by Sophie Fox, right?
Yeah, A Journey Through Life with the Archangels. Yeah.
Beautiful.
My passion behind writing that was really wanting to help people to connect to the angels on a very practical, everyday ways. So there is a lot of information about, I picked the 16 main archangels, but yeah, it's also really giving people the techniques and tools to get through whatever life throws at them. Yeah, I really wanted people to come away feeling absolutely bulletproof. It's like, right, yes,
that's amazing. I love it. And so you described the archangels, so they kind of like archangel archetypes. So I'm guessing that these different archangels bring different energies as well.
That's right.
For example, I need now strength, so I'm gonna call this archangel, or I need some other energy, so I'm gonna call this archangel. Is that how it works?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's not entirely necessary to know what each archangel does, but it's so much more powerful if you do. You can imagine if you're in a room full of people and you're screaming, help, help, people will come to you. But if you go up to one specific person and say, will you help me, please? It's going to be so much more instant and, and powerful. So I think just having a little bit of an insight as to what each archangel specializes in is super helpful to know what situation you're in, to be able to think, right. I mean, the most obvious one to me is Archangel Raphael for healing. He's the healing angel. And so you can ask him directly to bring that healing in for you. Yeah.
That's so nice. I love the topics of archangels because it's like so mysterious and you like never know, because you can't really grasp, like you can't really put your finger on it to like, you know, see these archangels, but you can really feel their energies, I guess, when they come, right? Like you can really, and is it normal that, for example, I feel the most drawn to Archangel Metatron, or like someone has some kind of archangel that is like closer to them in a way, or maybe energetically resonates with them more?
Yeah. Metatron is one of the most powerful archangels. Yeah, so he's a beautiful energy to work with, and he specializes in harmonizing people's energy fields, and he's a really good one. Top tip: if ever you're running late, get him to freeze time for you. I say, Archangel Metatron, get me there early. And honestly, it works. It's weird, but yeah.
So he's literally bending time and space so that it can fulfill your wish.
Yeah, because that's what he's working with. He's balancing all that for us. So yeah,
that's so cool. But I think for me, it's Metatron, because once I had this plant medicine experience, and literally in the whole room, I saw these like Metatron's cubes everywhere, like a tiny Metatron's cubes everywhere, just kind of as if someone copy pasted it like everywhere. And I don't know if it was my aura or if it was just in the room, but I could see the symbol of a Metatron. And since then, I feel like this is just created like this connection in a way. I'm not sure if this could be the symbol of this being present with me or whatever. I don't know really how to interpret it, but that's just what I saw.
Yeah, sacred geometry is so powerful to work with. I would really recommend. I've got one just next to me, actually. You could use Metatron's cube as a grid for crystals, you know, and that brings in beautiful energy, and yeah, it's a lovely thing
amazing.
To do.
But yeah, we kind of like went a little bit bypassed my question, because my question was about your favorite practice to connect to your guides. So you say that you want to give us meditation and access to your meditations. That's beautiful. But if someone wants to just one simple practice to just take home, you know, after listening to this, what would you recommend for the start?
Just doing something quickly. I think the most important thing to do is to start with grounding. Okay, so the easiest way, I think, to do that is to put your focus on your feet, and put your all your attention on your feet, and just feel your connection to the earth. Because you know, it's wonderful to work with these angelic beings and spirits and everything, but you still need to keep yourself grounded. So yeah, that's my. Sorry, dog in the background. My number one biggest tip is to start the process with grounding yourself to the earth, and then you know, put your focus on your breath. Just intentionally bring your awareness inwards, and just become aware of your breath. Feel the air coming in through your nose, the cold air coming in through your nose, and the warm air going out. And just having a few nice rounds of deep breathing. And then put your awareness outside of yourself, on your aura, your energy field that's around your body. And you can imagine that expanding outwards now, and expand that outwards all the way to the size of the room that you're in. And then just simply set the intention to invite your angels in. And that's what you're doing with your setting the intention. And allow your mind to become clear. And if any thoughts pop up, just imagine them like a cloud, just floating past you, not getting attached to that thought. Just asking for that guidance to come through. And you can sit for, as long as you have. And, we receive this guidance in a whole variety of different ways. And we usually have one way that is stronger than the others. So we have what's called clairs, your clairaudience, where your guidance will come through as, quite often it sounds like your own voice. And that's the most difficult one to tune into, because it's learning that differentiation between your voice and the voice of your ego. You've got your clairvoyance, and some people are very lucky to have like flashes, almost like a movie going on in front of your mind. And, it can be very, very quick, these, what I call little snippets. Like for you got that sacred geometry, coming up. Clairgustance is tasting. Sometimes you can taste in your mouth. And clairsentience, when you have a feeling, you can't explain, it's just an inner feeling. And there's also when you have this inner knowing as well, and you don't know where this information came from, but it just pops into your mind. Yeah. And it's really learning to work and open up these inner senses that we have.
Beautiful. I received a message: we are here with you, we support you, you got this. That's what I received. And this time I received it as kind of like my own thought in my own mind, but I felt, as you said before, I felt this sense of peace. Like I have nothing in my mind. I'm completely clear. I'm just present in here and now. And then these words just come to me this time. But sometimes I see some visions, some colors. Sometimes I hear something. And also I feel like it's a lot about how we want to receive messages, because for example, once I had a situation where one of my best friends, she said, oh, I was hearing these voices and it was so cool. And I heard like us from the future, and I heard you, and I heard my friends. And I was like thinking like, oh, it's so cool that she's hearing this. And then I was intending also to hear. And literally like maybe a week afterwards, or within a few days afterwards, I had the experience where, again, in the night, I couldn't really like grasp where I'm like awake or where I'm, really not awake. I heard this voice coming from the back of my head, but it wasn't my voice. It was like a kind of like a feminine, like I couldn't say if it's feminine or masculine voice, or rather like a boy. Like it was very like delicate. And then it was talking to me, and I was like, I didn't really know if this being is actually like serving me. And I was just actually wanted to wake up because it felt weird. It was the first time I had this experience. So I just really wanted to wake up, but I couldn't. I was in sleep paralysis. But then this voice was like talking to me, and I was like, okay, are you an angel? And then it said like, I was, but I'm not anymore. And I think before that I asked about the name, and its name was Dominic. And I was like, okay, are you an angel? And like, I was, but I'm not anymore. And I'm like, okay, so who are you? And then it went away, but it felt a little bit weird for me that it's not an angel anymore. I'm like, how can that happen? That it's not an angel anymore? Like, it's fine. We love pets. So like, I was really surprised, and I heard this voice like coming like from the back of my head, but I knew that it's not my voice because I was in completely different energy. Like, was in between sleeping and waking state. So I know that intentionally you can open up the potential, right? And after that, I was like, okay, no, I don't want to hear anymore because
this is a really important point. Actually, you have to really remember that at every point you're always in control. And it is important to question, who you are connecting with. And always ask, are you of love and light? And if it's yes, great, you can continue having that experience. If it's no, then say leave now. And they have to respect your free will. This is the thing of using your power wisely and knowing your own power. So yeah.
Exactly. And that's why I think it went away, because I know that I'm only speaking to the beings of light. Like, I have this boundary within myself really strong, that I'm only speaking to the love and light, right? I'm not speaking to any fallen angels or something. I was just like, what the hell? But then it actually scared me at that time, because I was, it was just very weird experience at the time. So at that point I said, okay, I was kidding. I said that I want to hear things, but I don't want to hear things anymore. I'm living by myself. It's freaking scary. So nope, please nope. And since then, I didn't really hear the voices as I did at that time, because it's my choice, right? If I want to hear it or not.
It certainly is. And the thing with angels is they will only ever appear to you in a way that feels comfortable to you as well. So,
and that's how you can differentiate as well, right? If it's like the being of light, because the being of light probably doesn't want to scare you. No. It just wants to support you.
Yeah, exactly.
So it probably wasn't the being of light. Because it scared the shit out of me.
I mean, yeah, it's always worth asking. Yeah, you should always check first. And yeah, just remember that at every moment you're always in total control. They have to, by the laws of the universe, respect your free will. So yeah, it's not something I worry about too much, knowing that. So,
have you ever had some kind of encounter with the being of not love and light?
It's not really something that I entertain. So consciously, I will say no. Whether things have attached at certain points, they may well have done, but this is why learning to, if you're working with energy, you learn to clear your own fields and balance and keep yourself, in a good place. Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. And so I'm also curious about the services you offer. Are these services that you only do in person, or is it possible to also do online?
Yeah, no, I do everything both in person and via Zoom. So
beautiful. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Thank you. Yeah, I do a variety of things. I've got an amazing 6-week course that I run several times a year. I think the next one will be starting at the beginning of May. That's called Becoming Empowered. And I really want to give people all the tools and tips and techniques to get themselves in a good place and let go of anything that's not serving them. And yeah, it's just a beautiful, fabulous experience. And it's so lovely as well, isn't it, to connect with like-minded people and support each other. So I've created a Becoming Empowered family. There's a private page on Facebook as well that I keep constant, regular contact with all the people that have been through the course as well. So that's one thing. And then I do a few one-to-one sessions as well. The angel guide sessions that I mentioned. There I'm bringing through guidance with the angel cards, healing with guided meditation, and just general advice on your spiritual practice as well. So that's a lovely session. I also do something called Future Life Progression, which I'm very passionate about because that really does change lives. And I can guide people 5-10 years into the future. I can connect them to their best possible future. It's just limitless in possibilities. And I am just about to bring out a brand new session. Well, it's going to be a 3-part session called a Life Empowerment Activation.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, so this is really, really getting deep into the roots of what's holding you back from being your best possible version of you. So it's a 3-stage process. And the first stage is taking you back into a past life to address anything that is affecting you in this life. And we're playing, I suppose, with the karmic field there and just resetting everything. The second phase is to take you back into childhood, to an issue that has affected you, but not from a point of view of having to relive any trauma, but really just coming in and bringing the healing that wasn't given and the love that wasn't given at the time, and just readdressing those issues. And then the final stage is using the future life progression to connect you to your best possible future. And I just love it, because there you're connecting to we're playing with the quantum field, and once you've connected to that energy of living your best possible future, there's just no stopping you. And it's like lighting the fuse paper to the universe. Yeah, it's just magical. And you come away just feeling so full of enthusiasm for life. It's like, yes, I know what I want to do and what's possible. Yeah, it's just, yeah, amazing. Yeah,
sounds really great.
Life-changing stuff. So yeah,
sounds like you offer a lot of beautiful services. And so if someone would like to contact you and find you and would like to try it out themselves, what's the best way to find you?
Just have a look on my website. It's angelicenergies.co.uk, and yeah, everything's listed on there as well. So
beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all this wisdom, all this angelic energy that you got already vibrating in your body, and everything that you shared with us. It was a beautiful conversation. I'm really, really grateful for it. So you guys, Karolina, if you're interested more, get the book and go to the website, check out the services. It will be probably very transformative for you. So I really encourage you to do it. And thank you, Sophie, again, for sharing your beautiful energy with us.
Thank you. And I will share the code as well so that you can access all these meditations. So yeah, that'd be beautiful.
Amazing. Thank you. We are super grateful that you want to share it with us. It's really amazing.
Okay.